So one of the biggest concerns I have with the FX6 is the intake right here. And I can appreciate that the unit moves 925 gallons of water per hour. So you need a really large intake to handle that much flow. But what makes me nervous about it is the size of the openings in the intake. And if you look here at the Rena XP4 I have, if you guys have watched some of my previous videos, you know that I've found Pseudotrophes demasoni in the canister, which means they got sucked through these slots, which I think are even narrower than the FX6. But the only difference is that this, because it has less overall area of the intake, the velocity is increased. So this will actually produce, I think, more suction than this will. So it's kind of a trade-off. I know that this one is narrower but has a higher suction or velocity at the intake point. This one has way more surface area, and so yeah, I'm just not sure if I'm going to end up with fry in this one like I did with this one. And I mean, I haven't made up my mind on what to do with it yet. So I have the intake here of the FX6, and I'm going to tilt it towards the camera. Can you see the white sand in the bottom there? And I'm just going to give this thing a shake, and I want you guys to see that there's a ton of really dense turd in there. There you go. See how the turd and the sand is coming out the bottom? So it indicates to me that the intake is so big that it doesn't actually have a huge amount of suction at the gills. That's what I'm just going to call the exterior of this intake. It doesn't have a lot of suction at the gills, which might actually make it safer than the XP4. Now, one thing I saw is a guy on YouTube that actually took his apart and filled this thing with coarse foams because he had the same concerns I had about intaking or sucking stuff in he didn't want to go in. But the problem I had with that is, think about how much surface area in terms of coarse foams are on the FX6. Fluval made some improvements to the FX6 from the FX5, but one thing they didn't change was the volume and the position of the coarse foams. And I think that that's something from an engineering standpoint that we need to keep in mind, is they have that much foam for a reason. And I think that if anybody takes coarse foam and adds it to the intake of the filter, that is going to restrict your flow very quickly because, like I said previously, Fluval has great engineering and has placed the exact right amount of foam in the filter. And the last thing you want is the intake right there to become the bottleneck for your filtration. So I'd love to know your guys' opinion on the intake for the FX6. If you look in the top right of your screen right now, I'm going to throw up a poll. And if you could just let me know through the poll if you think the intake is awesome or you think that it's not awesome, I'd love to hear your opinion. And if you did something cool for the intake, I'd love to see or hear what you did in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope you have yourselves a good day.